And another season of the NBA on ESPN is underway.
Let's go!
Curry for the record.
We have a liftoff.
Leonard to the crescent.
We're back in Boston for Game 6 as the Celtics look to close this one out on their home floor and advance to their first NBA Finals in over a decade. But can the Heat and Jimmy Butler will themselves back in this thing and force a Game 7 back home in Miami? We're getting you ready for the next 30 minutes live on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the ESPN app. And welcome to Hoop Streams presented by Hotels.com. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth. Oh, don't call it a comeback, okay?
Hey, I'm back like I forgot something.
Well, you never forgot us because you know where it's
That's
at.
what I'm saying.
We got Big Perk back with us. And alongside two lovely ladies, Gold-Onwude and, of course, Monica McNutt. Make sure you tune in to ESPN Radio's call with Doris Burke, Mark Jones, and, of course, Monica McNutt on the sidelines. Guys, lot to get into. We'll carry on with this Heat-Celtics series. Plus, the Warriors are back in the finals. Roz has a very unique perspective on a team that she spent a lot of time with. We'll get into the Dubs win. But before we look ahead, we got to look back on this series because things have been real weird in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it started with winning one quarter in Game 1 back in Miami. Jimmy Butler went off for 41 points with 27 of them in the second half as the Heat, they took Game 1 behind just a monster third quarter, and that's where all the only lost one quarter, only won one quarter situation went into play. But we're past that. Game 2 happened. Marcus Smart was back after missing Game 1 with a mid-foot sprain. Stepped up big, combining with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for 75 points as the Celtics evened up the series. But then the injuries continued to pile up. Game 3, no Rob Williams. Bam Adebayo had his way, 31 points in the win. Jimmy Butler, though, hurt his knee, missed the second half. Tyler Hero injured his groin. Marcus Smart also sprained his ankle. And Jason Tatum injured his shoulder. And then in Game 4, Tyler Hero didn't play due to that groin injury. And the Heat, they just came out ice cold, missed 16 of their first 17 shots, never recovered as the Celtics even the series despite no Marcus Smart, who missed that game with an ankle sprain. And then Game 5, it was pretty even in the first half, and then the Celtics just took off on a 24-2 second half run and didn't look back. And guys, unfortunately, we have to continue to still do injury updates before every one of these games. Tyler Hero will miss his third straight game with that groin injury. The Heat are just so banged up. Spo said at shoot-around this morning, Monica, that he's actually not allowed to ask any of the other guys how they're feeling. I talked to Kyle Lauer pregame, and I asked him how he's doing. He goes, I'm here.
Attendance.
Yes, it's attendance. He did that.
He's going to participate.
But let's get into the Celtics, guys. Just one round to go. The Celtics, they were the team trailing 3-2 with their season on the brink before they won in Milwaukee and then beat the Bucks in Game 6 and 7. So, Roz, you were on the radio call for that series. What do you think the Celtics learned from that series to try to close this one out?
Yeah, well, one thing that stands out about the Celtics when they're playing really well in the playoffs and certainly in closeout games, they really take care of the ball. When they take care of the ball and don't turn it over and then can rely on their defense, they are so tough to beat because basketball is a possession game. And another thing I noticed, especially against the Bucks, as we were watching Giannis start to run out of steam, and then for the Heat here, we're watching Jimmy and all of them run out of steam, is that the Celtics got a whole lot of depth. And that's on offense, that's on defense. On defense, they have versatility and depth in their post play. Offensively, a number of stars in their role have stepped up and had nice moments. This is a team that's ready to play both sides of the court.
You feeling confident in your Celtics?
I am. And you know why? Because we always talk about offense, right? And offense win games, but defense win championships. And right now, we're looking at a Celtic defense that could possibly be one of the greatest defensive teams in playoff history.
That's
when you think about their size, their athleticism. Like, you talk to other coaches around the league, they are like they want this type of personnel, this type of versatility. Think about this for a second. In game 4, the Heat scored 82 points, right? In game 5, the Heat scored 80. We have an old saying in the locker room, don't hope they miss, make them miss. I think the Celtics do a great job of contesting all shots, and I think Ime Udoka don't get enough credit for holding them accountable, because a great defensive team is a reflection of their coach.
Preach, preacher. Come on, big bird with the preacher energy.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm back on the screen.
Hey, that's your coach.
Bro, you got the preacher towel on and everything. There you go. I will echo that, and I'll jump in on Ime a little bit. We had a chance to talk to him pregame and asked him, you know, this is new territory for you as a first-time head coach. And he talked a little bit about the journey for himself and how it's game to game in terms of getting ready for this series, but that he's most proud of his team in terms of the way they've responded to the physicality from the Heat. And we saw, as you go through all the games we've played so far, every now and again they haven't responded. But now he feels like they've turned a corner and they know what to do when it's time to close out.
Well, on the other side, you have a very experienced head coach in Eric Spoelstra, and he's been, you know, he's been making some pleas to his team. He's had some, you know, some bars, if you will. He basically said, we have the opportunity to make a memory, is what he's telling this team. If you want to break through and punch a ticket to the finals, you're going to have to do some ridiculously tough stuff. This is when you feel most alive, is also what he said, and this is where the history of the league has been written. But those words can't heal basically the majority of his roster. So, Monica, amid all the injuries, can the Heat pull this off?
Child, it could be a dream or a nightmare, depending on which side the Heat are on. Listen, guys, practically, the injuries are concerning. Like, would I be shocked if some kind of way Heat culture found a little bit more juice to get out of the lemon? No, but it seems like a really, really tall task. Just to echo what Roz said, there's so much that the Celtics can do well on both sides of the floor that they can't control. Literally, if you don't turn the ball over, the Heat offense is stifled.
Absolutely, and with the Celtics, they have so much depth within the amount of people they can put on post players, whether it's Al Horford or Robert Williams, or you have Grant Williams and his versatility, or you have Marcus Smart, who comes in and sets the tone with the mentality there. On offense, you've got Jason Tatum, who will show up, but Jaylen Brown as well, and Jason reading what the right decision is to make. And then you've got guys like Derek White, who come in and be great in their role and bring versatility, or Grant Williams hitting his three, or Peyton Pritchard hitting shots. You look at a team in the Heat that are running out of options. It's not an excuse to be hurt, but it is their reality. And you look at the Celtics, who are the few little injuries they have, they're fighting through it, and it seems like they just have more to come at you in waves over and over again.
By the way, Marcus Smart and Rob Williams are active tonight. The Heat, what's your pulse on them? Is it really just the injuries, and you're ruling them out?
Well, you know, I got the Celtics winning this game if they're focused, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you could tend to look too far ahead, and with a young ball club like the Celtics, I don't want them thinking about we're one game away from the finals. You have to think about the moment, because one thing we do know is that Heat organization has a lot of pride.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Individual pride at that. You look at Kyle Lowry, although he's not 100%, he's going to come out and give it his all. Jimmy Butler, Bam, and even P.J. Tucker. So you look at that from those four guys that are in the starting lineup, and just think about it. They're going to come out, and they're going to come out swinging. So the Celtics got to have a great focus, and I don't want to see the Celtics settling, especially Jason Tatum. Be aggressive, attack the basket, get to the free throw line, not those sidestep three-point shots. You got to be aggressive in your house tonight.
Well, look, either way, the Warriors are going to be waiting. Because we have to talk about last night, because the Dubs are back in the NBA Finals after closing things out in 5 on their home court. And look, it may not have been Game 6 Klay Thompson, but he was certainly in character. 19 points in the first half, jumped out to a 17-point halftime lead over the Mavs. Like, Luka Doncic, you were upset with how he came out. You overcame that slow start, but it just wasn't enough, as Klay was shimmying on people and everything. Like, he was feeling it. Steph Curry also was named the inaugural Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP. And guys, the Warriors are in the NBA Finals for the 6th time in 8 years.
I didn't even know Klay could dance like that.
That's
Look, he's been through a whole lot. They now join Bulls. Magic Lakers, Bill Russell Celtics as the only franchises to accomplish that feat. And those hats had a real 90s feel to them.
They do.
They got the script back.
Yeah, they do for the finals. So I just like, I'm going to go on NBA.com and get me one of those. But Roz, you covered the majority of the Warriors' early runs. What difference do you notice aside from age?
Yeah.
Obviously. In this run to
For
the
them,
finals.
not me, of course. I stayed the same.
You found wine, girl. You found wine.
Have you noticed in this run compared to the ones you had a front row seat to?
You know, the first championship with Steve Kerr in his first year, that whole season, it was like all of these guys, it was cute, it was sweet, it was joyful. I actually remember being their sideline reporter and being in the locker room when they won division champs. They made T-shirts. When they made it to the Western Conference Finals, they sprayed water on each other's heads. Like everybody was so excited and happy for each step in the journey to the championship because they hadn't been there before. And then for the Kevin Durant years, there was so much expectation that they were getting to the finals 100%. So you often heard about Steve trying to get the Warriors to find that joy, even though they were drudging through the regular season to get to the expected championship game that they were supposed to be at. But now I see after 2 years away from the playoffs and guys who are now parents, family leaders, and have been injured and come back, I see so much gratitude. So I think that gratitude mixed with now health, their talent, and their experience is going to go a long way. And that gratitude is oozing out of a guy like Klay Thompson.
I mean, Perk, what did you notice? Like, obviously, Klay's story is amazing. You've been singing Steph's praises. Like, when you think about the Warriors being back in the finals, what's the first thing in your mind?
It's their culture. We talk about the Heat culture, but I think about the Warriors and how they're still able to make a run for a title, being back in the finals, and build for the future, right? You think about Andrew Wiggins, you think about Jordan Poole, the emergence of him, like they're still raising their guys in the right way and letting them flourish. Like Moses Moody is getting playing time.
Oh, you nailed that the first time.
I did. I already made it famous on draft night. I ain't gonna do it 2 times in a row. Here's the thing though. It's just the leadership of Draymond Green, Steph, and Klay. Like, we talk about Draymond so much, but Steph, he's really a leader that leads by example. The way that he approaches the game, how conditioned he is, the way that he, respects the game of basketball. So it's all about the culture for the Warriors to me.
Yeah.
And look, either way, as I mentioned, they're waiting, and they get to start the finals in the Bay. And let's take a look at the perfect matchup brought to you by Hotels.com. And guys, as the Warriors await their opponent, Draymond Green revealed post-game that he believes they're going to play the Celtics. Perk, is Warriors-Celtics the perfect matchup for the NBA Finals in your mind?
Absolutely, because now it goes back to you looking at a young Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going against a veteran trio in Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry. Almost reminds me of when the Warriors beat Cleveland or LeBron James and won their first title. This is the matchup everybody want to see. We know the Bay Area fans fired up, and we know how the Bean Time represent. We know how they represent. Y'all saw the way they was cheering when I was running down the stairs.
Listen,
no bias.
Perk, the way you started the conversation talking about this Celtics squad is potentially one of the better defensive units we've seen to this point in history versus the Warriors offense, y'all, which gives everybody headaches. Like, it literally, in terms of schematically, and you think about some of the recipes that have been suggested to knock off the Warriors. A lot of it has to do with the size. And what did we just talk about the Celtics having on defense?
Versatility and depth inside.
And depth inside, and the size. So, like, I'm excited for this. If we're not rushing off the Heat.
Right. Historically, over the past few years here that I've seen them playing the Warriors, the Celtics played them tough.
Yeah.
And even when these were a really young version of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and them, I mean, they came into the Bay and took some games. They weren't scared. I think there's mutual respect. In fact, I know there's mutual respect between both of these teams. I think it could be spicy should it happen.
While I appreciate the Miami Heat, and I appreciate the dogs on that team, the personalities on that team, I just find the Celtics and Warriors more compelling.
Yes.
And one of the reasons is, like, which dynasty? The Warriors obviously building on their dynasty, Steph going for a 4th title, that trio going for a 4th title, or the Celtics.
I mean, you can't compare that.
I mean, it's a single team versus the Celtics going for number 18, overtaking the Lakers. Like that is
Right on.
that is a historic.
It's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. So that to me.
And I'm here for it.
And that's
here for it.
That's why it could be a perfect matchup. No
match.
disrespect, even though that's disrespect. Miami.
Respectfully.
We're going to be on the Heat.
All right, having you back, Perk, is a perfect way to kick off Game 6 here in Boston because this is where your ESPN journey began.
It did.
Do you remember this?
It did.
Memory lane.
NBA champion Kendrick Perkins.
Well, I appreciate it, Cassidy and Gary.
Texas
Thanks for having
is on.
Yeah,
Kendrick
Texas on.
Perkins.
Texas
Hello.
Here in
on.
the Lone Star
Beaumont,
State.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, 409.
Exactly.
I think I probably would have did the same thing. Though.
As Jokic?
Yes.
Okay.
Go up and under.
By any means necessary, we got to win the game.
You later? Okay.
Watch out!
Now it's getting rough. I'm gonna
Okay,
cut
if
this
you ever had
off.
a paper cut, that hurts.
You're
I was skinny. I was skinny. I got to get back to that. Hey, that's motivation right there.
Yeah.
Those memories right there. That was where it all started. Listen, all started in the H-Town on Hoop Screen.
Right.
With gas.
2019.
We was in the
You
building.
know what I remember about that day, your beautiful white vanity telling us that you were very nervous, and then
was.
you pulling me aside saying, Cass, I don't know if people are going to accept my Southern drawl on air and if they're going to take me seriously. Well, look at you now. You have a skit on SNL, and you are one of our most prominent voices across all our platforms.
I mean, you know, I didn't know. Seriously, it's a humbling situation, though, Cassidy, and I ain't gonna lie. It all started when we was doing real numbers with Hoop Screens. You remember that? I'm talking about we was touching 2.5, 3 million.
I was gonna still get.
Here's the thing, right? Like, it's a humbling situation, and keep grinding. And I would have never thought that, you know, a country boy from Beaumont, Texas, that speak with broken English. But the one thing you told me, you was like, Perk, you're fine. Be yourself. And that's who
you
I've
have been from the get-go.
I appreciate it.
Roz and Monica are going to be with us in just a bit, but we wanted to give you the floor because we wanted to bring back an OG segment.
Uh-oh.
You think, like, carry on. He's been saying this for a while, that we named a whole segment after it. So let's carry on and get into some of your biggest declarations and with a focus on the Heat-Celtics.
Carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on.
All right, let's kick things off with this one from just last week. You said the Boston Garden is the best arena in the NBA. It's fired up in that MF. Don't mind me, though. Carry on. Hashtag bias.
Yeah.
Why is this the best arena?
Because, I mean, just look at it. You can feel the energy, right? The fan base that's, like, spoiled of winning championships, like, that's all they want to do. And when they see a young team like this team the Celtics have, like, it's going to be fired up. It's going to be rocking. And they understand the game. It's not about just made shots or missed shots. They understand screen setting. They understand deflections. Like, these fans been around for a long time.
And it doesn't hurt that, like, you get cheers when you run out into the court.
Yeah,
in your suit.
I know.
Just saying.
I was like, yeah, this is what it's all about, being town in the building.
Speaking of a fan favorite, this is your tweet from Game 2 of this series. If you see Marcus Smart wrestling with a lion, you better put the steak on him. He want all the smoke. Carry the hell on. This is just an incredible Perk tweet. Explain.
Yeah, put the stake on him. But you know what? Here's the thing. We're watching a lot of guys sit out through injuries and things to that nature. For the defensive player of the year, we know he's tough as nails. But think about the injuries that he's battling through.
His whole right leg.
That's what I'm saying. And
His
how
foot, his knee.
he lays it out on the line every single night. When he came back for Game 2 after being out in the way that he performed, I mean, he's just something spectacular. And you can't judge that. That's the heart and soul of this Boston Celtic team.
Well, on the Heat side, after Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, you called out their star. And I'm talking about Jimmy Butler. You said Jimmy is a postseason superstar. He don't give a damn about the regular season, but as soon as the playoff starts, he quickly becomes a top 5 player in the NBA. Now, Jimmy says he's not hurt, but he clearly looks like he's hurt. Has that changed at all?
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. And we all know that Jimmy is not 100%. We know he's not 75%. But when he was 100%, Jimmy was out there serving everybody. And Jimmy is one of those guys, he's figured out the long game. It's not about the sprint, it's about the marathon. And so when you watch him, he gets through the regular season, and you're like, oh, he's averaging 20 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. And then all of a sudden, you still start to see him drop those 40 or 45-piece wing dinners, and you're like, okay, that's the Jimmy we've been
Right, and you know this is killing him.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
not being able to perform and play like the dog that he is. And so we'll see what he has left in the tank, because both him and Kyle, because their backs are against the wall, it's do or die. Let's move on to Wednesday night after Game 5. You said last time Boston-Miami met in the Eastern Conference Finals with Miami down 3-2, LeBron James delivered an epic Game 6 to save the Heat. Well, guess what? LeBron James ain't walking through those doors no time soon.
He sure ain't.
Boston in 6.
Yeah, and I mean that. Boston in 6. Listen, Boston is going to be hosting up the trophy for winning the Eastern Conference. I believe Al Horford is going to win the Larry Bird Trophy for us the MVP. Listen, look, the way that the Heat are banged up, I just don't see Jimmy Butler coming into this hostile environment with this young group and this defense and the way they have it on their mind and getting the win tonight.
So you think they're going to be taking on the Warriors in the finals? We'll get to our last tweet. You had some high praise for how do you describe Steph Curry?
Oh, the light-skinned brother with the green eyes.
I mean, you love pointing that out.
With the green eyes. Because we all, like dark-skinned brothers, we wanted to be light-skinned at one time, and I kind of wanted to have green eyes at one point.
I mean, you've made that clear. As the Celtics are running onto the court, that's why the crowd is roaring. But you tweeted, Steph wins another championship and Finals MVP. We're going to be having a different conversation. What's that conversation?
Oh, the conversation about how he changed the game and what do we rank for as the all-time greats and the seat at the table that he's going to be sitting in. Some people want to get mad at me, and I said he might be considered, if he accomplished this, he's going to be the greatest point guard of all time. I said what I said. He has changed the game forever.
So what does he have to do in order to cement himself on Mount Rushmore?
Oh, to me, he just got to win this championship with a Finals MVP.
And it's done?
Yeah.
All right, and we'll see what team is going to be going up against
that.
them in this weekend at least, as we're getting ready for Game 6 here in Boston.
I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there.
Jaylen Brown with the finish. The Celtics operating on all cylinders.
Me and my boys make major moves. Still the same ones that I came with. Up in a payment. Told you we nothing to play with. Guess some things unchangeable.
The quest is ongoing to find the answer, to make the leap.
This Celtic team has taken the fight to the Miami Heat. They have not responded.
What is their will to fight when they travel back up to Boston?
All these years, blood, sweat, and tears. But I'm still here. Nothing can stop me.
We just know what we're capable of. We know that we can win.
2 options left. Come back or close out.
Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing could stop me.
If you want to break through and punch a ticket to the finals, you're going to have to do some ridiculously tough stuff. Those are the emotions that you have that you remember the rest of your life.
Just understand what this is, man. It's competition.
They're not going to give up. It's not going to be easy. The job's just not finished yet.
Keep fighting.
It's time now for the main attraction as we're just minutes away from Game 6 between the Heat and Celtics. And Perk, you were on that 2010 Celtics team, the last seas to make the NBA Finals. You know a little thing or two about closeout games. What does it take to close out a team in Game 6?
Well, I think you got to come out here with the right focus, and I think they have to come out here and dress them like the numbers on the house. Give the Heat no hope whatsoever, no life whatsoever. Get off to a fast start. Don't try to play from behind. Give them no life and put them out their misery.
We got Roz and Monica back with us. And Mon, how do the Celtics and what is their focus to try to close them out?
I think you got to come out with tremendous energy. Don't turn the ball over early, because whenever they turn the ball over, that's when the Heat get going, and they've got to stay connected on defense. They've really made the Heat struggle knocking down shots. This is a terrific three-point shooting team during the regular season, not so much as of late.
Oh, they shot 7 for 45 last game. Their defense is absolutely wearing on them. That's their bread and butter. They can lean on their D. The real key for them is they know what they can do on defense. They got to take care of the ball to close this thing out, and that takes a level of mental concentration.
Yep.
should also tap in with what it took to be here on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were talking about breaking up Jalen and Jason.
Yeah,
they were saying they were saying maybe Ime's not the right fit. Jason Tatum told me, he told me that when things were going bad, he and Ime continued to keep talking. They didn't separate. He had his coach's back, and they kept saying, I think we're close.
I mean, and guys, this is a duo that's essentially been in so many Eastern Conference Finals. Like, do you guys remember exactly 4 years ago today, Jason Tatum dunked on LeBron James?
I do.
And then stared him down. Do you remember this?
I had front row seats. I was right there on the bench.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had front row seats.
Y'all keep
And he
talking
bumped
about
into him. Mon, I mean, what would a trip to the finals mean for 19-year-old Jason Tatum? Because he's still 19.
Man, golly. This is for Jason Tatum, to me, this is very similar to what happened to Giannis last year. How many guys are you going to knock off and deliver your team the ultimate prize? I mean, he got KD, he got Giannis, could be on the brink of taking care of Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. If he's able in the next round to continue going on, like, are there bigger names in the league to conquer besides LeBron, who he already got with that dunk way back when?
I still can't get over the bump.
Jaylen Brown has already played in 4 Eastern Conference Finals. Jason Tatum, this is his 3rd Eastern Conference Finals. So they might be young in age, but this is a very experienced core group. And I've spoken a ton with Jason Tatum all season long, and he talked about how now he just feels mature and ready for his role as a leader of the team. And it comes with age, it comes with focus and video watching, and he's also put on 4 pounds of weight too. And he said that little 4 pounds is helping him through contact and take all the attention he's getting.
No, I agree. And listen, when you talk about Jason Tatum, listen, Jason Tatum has an opportunity to go on one of the greatest individual runs in playoff history. Just think about it.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jimmy Butler, and when he faced the Golden State Warriors, he low through Steph Curry. Name me a run that's better than their individual.
We're having some audio issues because I said that. But thanks, Perk.
I know I just backed up.
we were just
the music was jamming.
I was like,
I doubled down. I doubled
you
down.
right, Pastor, you right. Pastor, I was the usher. You had to deliver it as the pastor.
Like I said, we have an audio issue.
We're a team, and we're making it
No,
through.
we heard you.
But we're talking about, that duo, okay?
Yeah.
But and being kind of a core that's been through it. I think a guy who's probably had one of the biggest impacts on this series hasn't been through it, in Rob Williams. How would you describe just how he has changed this series?
You know what? Rob Williams not only changed the series, but he changed the whole landscape of the league. Like, let's remember, this guy had a surgery on a torn meniscus about, a month and a half ago. We have witnessed guys sit out the entire season through that. This means that he won it. He's embracing the moment. We hear about him being day-to-day. That means he's actually going through pain and swelling. So I got a lot of respect for Robert Williams, but just being that live threat at the basket, being that defensive anchor is everything for the Celtics.
As I mentioned off the top, no Tyler Hero again for the 3rd straight game. Has he been a big reason why the Heat just can't seem to get things figured out?
I actually think the Celtics wanted Tyler Hero to play. He's been with them. He's been with us.
Oh, wow.
He's been with us.
Whoa. I think it's a huge deal.
Yes.
I think Tyler Hero is a fine player and has worked.
Been in this series.
Right, but he's worked hard for this moment. I've seen his body of work over the course of the season. And this is a guy who's coming off the bench, but he's a starter in his mind and in his ability.
And production.
He's a closer, and he can help take some pressure off of Jimmy Butler. But could Jimmy be doing more? Yeah, well, he doesn't have Tyler. I think that's big. 2 starting guards in the last game go for 0, and the team is not hitting any threes. How much more can you ask for Jimmy?
So all of you guys are saying that we're going to have our Memorial Day weekend, huh, Mon?
I think so.
Oh, you don't want to go to Miami?
No.
Rob, be quiet. No, we're not going to.
Yes, I do, because our bosses are watching, so I want to work whatever you want me to work.
I'm trying to go home, and I think we're going
Hey,
home.
man, we got to get ready for this finals run.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind.
If we go to Miami, we want to vote on the bosses on Memorial Day.
Yes, love a Game 7.
All right, thank you so much for watching Hoop Streams presented by Hotels.com. Big Perk.
Hey.
Back with us like you never
Pass
left.
the Perk.
I know, but I saw that old clip. It ain't gonna be no more Big Perk next year.
Right.
It's just gonna be Perk.
Think about that with a Memorial Day barbecue, because I'm going to be doing the same thing. Rob.
Oh.
What's your
They did it on purpose. They did it on
That was for
purpose.
you, Perk. Here, Perk.
Enjoy Game 6. If you want to watch the game live in the app, make sure to log into your cable providers now. Thanks for watching Hoop Streams, presented by Hotels.com. If we don't see you for Game 7, we'll see you in the finals in the Bay.